chosen ones, empaths. When the narcissist first laid eyes on you, they were infatuated. They were infatuated. They couldn't believe what they've encountered. You ticked all of the boxes. You ticked every single box. They saw that you're capable of love. They saw you're capable of providing a sustainable, potent supply. They were wooed by your looks, by the way you are, by the way that you used to converse, by the way that you used to care about them. You had a level of care, even though it was early days. You know, they done temperament checkers, and they'll drop a little hint of something that's happened in their past, something painful, and you would be there sewing up the wound, you know, treating the wound. And this is what ticked the box for them. They saw how you fix people. It's one of the main reasons why they chose you, because you like to fix things. When you see someone broken, you know the words to say to make them feel better, to heal their wounds. And this infatuation quickly developed into an obsession where they needed to make you know. They wanted to make it official. They wanted to make it very quickly official that you two are together, you know? And that's oftentimes why we get into these situationships very quickly. The declaration of love happens very quickly. Before you know it, you're saying, I love you, and they're saying, I love you, and you're well in there. That's how they seal the deal, so to speak. Once those words, I love you, are uttered, they're used as a tool of deception, but once those words are uttered, they think this is a sealed deal. Because they genuinely know that when you say, I love you, you mean it. These people, on the other hand, they're in it for gain. Remember, there's no reciprocity. There's no reciprocation. And as a fellow subscriber said in a mention to me, he brought a word to my attention: symbiotic. A symbiotic relationship means it's on both sides. There's give and take on both sides. And these people ain't part of that. This was all their gain. They were head over heels for you. And they had you exactly where they wanted you. They had you in that place. And they had many other targets on their radar around the time that they were speaking to you initially. But they brushed those aside. They thought, I'm not interested in those. This is the primary source. That I'm going to make this one my primary supply. Some of these narcissists are aware that they're narcissists. Right? Some of these narcissists don't know they're narcissists. But they know they don't function like everyday human beings. They know it because when they see someone genuinely happy for someone, they know they're pretending to be genuinely happy for someone. They know it actually makes them shudder inside when they hear someone has some good news. And your life was on the up, you know. You felt like you had a relationship now. Things might have been going well at work or at your course or what you're studying. And all of these things going well for you in your life, besides the narcissists, made the narcissist angered. They began to get angry seeing things going well for you in your life. It reminds me of a time that they asked to see my certificates from my college. It's just a college certificate, but I had a few of them. And I remember back to the time that I showed them it, and there was just a look in their eyes, the blackness in their eye. They weren't happy to see me that I qualified for the area that I qualified in. They weren't happy to see that at all. If anything, they were envious, resentful, bitter, twisted. And you see, these people are so obsessed with you, they actually hate on you. They hate on you. They're obsessed with you. They're being intimate with you. They're really screwed up, really badly screwed up. And they find themselves in this position where they need to portray themselves as a loving companion, but really you're sleeping with your worst enemy. You're sleeping with your worst enemy. They are your worst enemy. But they need to keep up the false pretenses that they're your companion. But as we know, that mask that they wear only lasts for so long. And we begin to see cracks in that mask. We begin to see peculiar behavior being dished out outwardly from them. You know, weird behavior, weird antics. And it starts to make us feel a bit uncomfortable, but we've got our love goggles on and we're blind to it a bit. But we still do remember those times when we think back in retrospect. But they become so obsessed with you, you know. They're insecure about you finding someone else. They're insecure about you finding out who they really are. They're insecure when you go out with your friends, when you go out with your colleagues. They're insecure when you go to work. They're worried that you're going to find someone else, someone better than them. And they've got this infatuation and this obsession about you. They want to be involved in everything you do. But you see what tends to happen with the narcissist. As time ticks along, you know, there's maybe a day where we want to go out with our friend by ourselves. We don't want to bring them along. Or we want to... Maybe we don't do the usual routine in the morning. I remember, you know, I used to work all week, and the narcissists used to drain me. Being intimate, they used to drain me. When I look back, they used to just drain me because it used to keep me in a mind state, a clouded mind state. If you're having continuous sex, it keeps you in a stagnated state. It does scientifically. It keeps you in the brain fog. And they used to know this, right? And plus I was doing early shifts, late finishes, plus sleeping with them numerous times a day. It used to drain me. So by the time it used to get to the weekend, I used to wake up for some reason early because I'm used to waking up early. And all I'd want to do is go to the kitchen, make some breakfast, chill out on my phone. And I've probably told you this story before, but I remember I'd be sitting there like listening to my music. I was well into my music. And they would pop up and they'd say, "What are you doing?" And it would startle me. It would make me jump. It would make me tremor, you know. And it was just because I hadn't been intimate with them that morning, you know. And they'd be like, "What are you doing?" And they would look disgusting. When I think about it, they look absolutely disgusting. Repulsive. You know, and as I've told you many times before as well, to think that I used to be intimate with that person and I was actually in love with that person, it makes me feel sick to my core, man. It makes me feel sick to my core. But these sorts of antics that we do, or not antics, but these sorts of ways that we operate, you know, genuinely trying to do something for ourselves. So it could even be, you know, I just genuinely wanted to listen to some music for myself. Something as small as that, or it could be, you know, you start a new course, or you get a promotion at work, and maybe you're working more hours, so you've got less time with them. All of these things start to actually wound the narcissist. Please press the like and the subscribe button. Help your brother out. It will take 2 seconds of your time. Thank you. But this starts to wound the narcissist, right? Maybe you're doing more hours at work, or you're searching for that promotion at work, or even something like I just mentioned, something as small as listening to some music by yourself in the morning on a Saturday morning. These sorts of things really, really make the narcissist feel degraded, because they're obsessed with you. So if anything untoward happens, any change in the pattern and the sequence of events and how it follows, so less hours with them, they start to get resentful. You're their obsession. Obsession is a strong word. You've got to break down the word. Obsessed. They're obsessed with you. They can't function without you. You need to keep in the same pecking order. You need to keep at the same, maintaining the same supply. You need to keep at that. Otherwise, it's malfunction for them. They begin to malfunction. They're seeing you do extra hours at work. What creeps in their mind? Oh my God, they've got someone else at work. Me, when I was there just listening to my music on Saturday morning, I'm doing something on my phone. I'm speaking to someone else. Because remember, these lot are actually, like, the time that we're not with them, they're so bored and they're such boring creatures that they were speaking to other people. Even though they're obsessed with us, they don't put all their eggs in one basket. They're aware that we could run out on them on any day. They know that our worth is worth a lot more than them. So they are prepared. They're not fully prepared, but they'll speak to other people. They'll play games with X supplies. They'll do all of this stuff on their phones. So it becomes like when you're doing those extra shifts at work, or you're doing a supervisor role or management role, or you're doing something at work where it's occupying more of your time, and you're doing that for the good nature of building the foundations at home, getting some extra money in, you know, extra money can always help out. You're doing it for that reason. These lot are taking it as a degrading, derogatory action. They're not taking it as you're doing something to help the relationship. They'll call it you're trying to set them up. You know, they're very paranoid. They're very insecure. So this obsession that they had with you starts to become darker. Becomes very darker. Becomes more of a resentment. Becomes more of a hate. They hate the fact that you go to college on a Thursday after work. They hate the fact that you're studying to be something better. These lot aren't doing anything with their lives. Remember, as we're progressing and climbing this mountain, trying to become better versions of ourselves, these lot are still down where we found them. They don't progress. They don't ascend, right? We're about ascension. Us chosen ones and empaths, we're about ascension. Even through the hard times when we do something wrong or we make a mistake, we bounce back like elastic, and we don't lose elasticity, and we bounce back. These lot stay in their stagnant place, and their only level of climbing up is through us. They're like a leech. But this obsession that they once had about you, this is why some of you feel like, oh, Didn't they love me? They loved you. They don't know how to love. They know how to obsess. And they obsessed about you. And they used to think about you, what you're doing when you're at work. And they'll bombard your phone with texts. And they'll call you up. And all because they're insecure that you're cheating on them. I'll tell you another story. I just used the toilet at work. The narcissist was insecure that I'm in there sleeping with someone at work. I never cheated on the narcissist. I never went on Facebook and looked at another female's profile. I never done any of that. And the proof was in the pudding because they hacked my device. And had there actually been any of that, they would have brought it to my attention. But there was never anything that I'd done which gave them any ammunition to actually unveil the fact that they're hacking my device. So they knew that I wasn't cheating, but still, I use the toilet at work, in the airport, and they're worried that I'm cheating on them in the toilet. This is how weird they are. This is how obsessed they are. But this obsession, when you obsess about someone, it's not love. And that's what makes us so confused about how the love bomb could be so passionate, felt so real. It's because you were dealing with someone who is obsessed. You were dealing with someone who is infatuated, who is obsessed. But it's only a downward spiral. As I said, this obsession starts to turn into hate. This obsession starts to turn into resentment. It starts to turn into envy. They're hating the fact that they're seeing you ascend, that you're bettering yourself, you're becoming better, you're out there at work, you're meeting new people, you're meeting new business contacts, you're doing things, you're bettering your life. If these that are working, if they are, usually they just leech off the person that is working, right? They're only there thinking about you. And if you're a stay-at-home parent, or you're a stay-at-home person, and the narcissist was the worker, then the narcissist was thinking that you're bringing people around to the house when they're out at work. They never brought this stuff to your attention. They never brought this stuff to your attention. Like, even the scenario I just brought up about the toilet incident when I was at the airport. They just said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" But you was in there for them. Like, and it was just them questioning me. Which later I've looked back in retrospect and I've seen they were very insecure that I used the toilet. And I didn't answer their phone call. You see? But if you're not the worker and they're the worker, then they're insecure that you're bringing people around the house. They're probably looking, if you're a male and you're at home and they're at work, they're probably coming back looking for hairs on you. I remember the narcissist used to look for hairs on me. I know you lot are going to be thinking, Zion, you're the biggest fool. I know I was a fool. I was a fool, man. I was madly in love like an idiot, right? But they say, "What's this blonde hair on me?" Like in the middle of about to be intimate, like, "What's this blonde hair on you?" And I didn't cheat. Like, I would tell you guys if I cheated. Honestly, like, if I'd done something wrong, I would tell you guys. You know what I'm saying? I would say, "Look, you know, I did make a mistake once. This." Like, they were so insecure. And they don't like you seeing you ascending. But what I'm trying to say to you is this, the moral of the story, the moral of this video is this obsession turns dark. And it stops to be an obsession of a loving kind, if we can call it that. And it becomes an obsession like your sworn enemies. It becomes an obsession full of hatred, full of deception, full of revenge mainly. And you've caused them so much injuries throughout the course of this time when you were just going to work, or you were staying at home looking after the kids, or whatever you were doing to build for your family or your future. And you were building for this thing, this future with this person. And they were harboring nothing but revenge for you. They wanted to hurt you. They wanted to cause you pain. They wanted to put you in the same position they felt through the entirety of the relationship. From the first, as I mentioned, from when they first laid eyes on you and they were infatuated, they felt like you will run out on them. They felt like you will find someone better. And this is the thing, you can find someone better. Just because you're in the brain fog now, this might be fresh for you, the wounds might be fresh. You will find someone better, I assure you that. It's never too late. It's never too late at all. I've heard stories from subscribers about a narcissist. Their dad spent 30 years with a narcissist, and in his 70s he met his soulmate, and they travel around the world together and stuff like that. So it's never too late for you to find someone. But these lot are out for revenge. They're out for revenge now. And this is why you've probably gone through the most brutal discard you've ever known. This is why they may have cheated on you and cut you off. This is why they put you through punishment. They wanted to punish you. And you don't understand it because you didn't do anything wrong. These lot are delusional. They were in a delusion the whole time. Every time you've done something for the betterment, to better your life with the narcissist, to build on your future, to promise them something in the future, i.e. going to a college course a few times a week, for example, working that promotion and doing those extra hours, or just putting in extra hours in work, or building that side business and being a bit busy after work, whatever it was you was doing, or just doing your regular 9 to 5 and building up and trying to save. And you're saying, let's not go out this weekend because we try and save, we want to get the deposit on the house, on the house, we want to get the mortgage. Whatever it was you were doing, they was taking offense to that. And by them taking offense to that, they never brought it to your attention, because a normal relationship, if someone didn't understand something in the relationship where there's reciprocation and reciprocity, the normal person, if there was a normal functioning individual, they would bring it to your attention and say, hey love, I don't understand why we're not doing that, or da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you would say da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then both of you would understand each other and it would be hunky-dory and a-okay. But the problem with the narcissist is they didn't bring none of this stuff to your attention. The fact they wanted to plot revenge, the fact that they were feeling hurt, the fact that they were feeling betrayed because you're doing a college course or you're doing extra hours of work. They didn't bring this stuff to your attention, and it built up and built up and built up inside of them. So much so that this obsession started to turn into revenge. It turned into where they want to bring you pain. They want to bring you suffering. It turned very sadistic, this obsession. And that's the problem why love is not obsession. And that's why there's a fine line between what we think we're in love with and we think we're in love, compared to the reality that it's an actual obsession that we're dealing with here. Okay, and it's been going on for a long time. Now look, you're probably in a situation where they discarded you or they ran off with someone new. But what happens now? What happens now is the feelings of revenge, the feelings of hate, because they've had their dose of revenge. They've injected their dose of revenge. They can stay in a revengeful state for a long time, but it will subside. But just like I said to you before, how they don't let you aware, they don't make you aware of how they're truly feeling inside. They don't make you aware now either that the feelings of revenge and punishment have begun to subside. So they'll stay in this one-track mind, in this one-track pattern of movement, and they'll continue on their journey with a new supply or someone else, and they'll continue on like this. But deep inside of them, they're starting to now have the feelings of regret. Because, like you've heard in many of my videos, these new supplies don't equate to us. They never will, never can, and they just won't. They don't equate to an empath and a chosen one who this channel's for. They don't equate to us. And oftentimes the narcissist runs off with a dusty, just as dusty as they are, right? And there's two dusty weirdos, like I always say, sitting on a couch looking at each other, realizing they can't draw any supply from each other because it's easier to draw blood from a stone. And they're stuck in this situation now with this new supply, and the only thing they've got left is to continue to punish you, is to continue to make you feel jealous, is continue to make you feel envious, is continue to make you want to miss them, because that's their form of supply they can gain from you. But really, deep down in the core of them, they're feeling regretful, and it's a self-absorbed regret, because they're self-absorbed, you know. It's not a regret like we regret, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, like, these lot are self-absorbed. It's not a, like, you know, and the dumper's remorse will kick in, because these lot suffer with a dumper's remorse. And this is why, probably, if this is still fresh for you, and you've been out a couple of months or a few months, and you're saying, nah, Zion, this person's never coming back to me. I'm speaking from experience of someone who's 6 years on from the narcissist. Okay? And I've had numerous hoovers attempts from the narcissist. So recent, even when I made this channel, and I only made this channel this year, on the 6th year, they reached out to me. And the hoovers were temperament checkers. They were checking how I'm feeling. They were checking my temperament. That's what they were doing through the hoovers. But it still shows that they were thinking about me, and they wanted to reach out and make it aware that they're watching the channel, and so forth, so fifth, right? This is why you are going to receive a hoover, because remember, at one point in time, before the revengeful and the punishment mind state started to kick in, you were their favorite thing. You were that favorite toy. You were that favorite thing. And that just can't pass. Especially when they run into this new supply, and the new supply doesn't do what you used to do, doesn't provide for them like you used to do. And as they start to grow up a bit, they'll start to realize, oh gosh, you were actually laying foundations for the future. They're all about instant gratification, but you doing those extra hours that you was doing at the office or in the warehouse or wherever you work, you were thinking about the future. You was laying foundations for the future. Possibly if you have children, or if you have children, you were thinking about the future of your children, and you were thinking strategically. They wasn't ready for that then. Remember, as I said, as you've ascended on the mountain, climbing higher, they've stayed in their stagnated little state, and they're still there now with their dusty new supply. But you've ascended, and I promise you, you've ascended even now in this most painful moment that you'll feel like you're going through in your life. You're reaching the higher heights than they'll ever get to. All you just need to understand is that love that you think you were dealing with, that it wasn't that they was not in love with you. It wasn't that the thing was a whole trick and they were deceiving you. It was that they were obsessed with you. And obsession is not love. And if you're obsessed with someone, it later turns dark, it turns sour, and they get revengeful, they want to inflict punishment, and that becomes their obsession. Because they were suffering with narcissistic injuries just by you doing extra hours at work, trying to lay the foundations, trying to do a genuine deed for the betterment of your relationship. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to paint in this message today. Just realize that you haven't lost anything. You haven't lost anything. And like I always say, if you're there, try not to look at their social media. Try to focus on your own life going forward. And remember that the narcissist new supply, don't be angry with, because they took your trash away. So anyway, thank you for watching today. Please press the like and the subscribe button. If you'd like to donate to the channel, you can find the link in the description box. And if you'd like a one-to-one session with myself, you can also find the link in the description box. Currently, I've got the secondary channel, the spiritual channel. So anyway, I'll be back with another video soon. Peace.